G'day folks, how you going? Glenn Grantham, General Manager of Rain and Horn in Darwin, coming to you from the Antarctic right at the moment, hence the reason why I've grown myself a beard and the hair's going longer to try and keep warm. Not quite the Antarctic, but it's Perth. Certainly a hell of a lot colder down here than the Northern Territory, and obviously Darwin, we're entering into the beautiful dry season. And everybody up there tells me that they're enjoying a really lovely start to the dry season. Why would you be anywhere else? So just giving you the first update in relation to what we've experienced as a company, handling a very large portfolio of properties in relation to real estate in the first full month of COVID affected marketplace. And I've got to tell you, it's a lot better than what we thought it was going to be. Across our rent roll, which is going to interest all of our owners, we have had less than 3% of hardship applications in relation to the payment of rental. So less than 3% of our tenants have experienced hardship sufficient for them to be looking to reduce their rental and have complied with that. And we've had reductions, and we've had nobody, I believe, at this point in time who has reduced their or been unable to pay any rent at all. So in accordance with the new legislation that's put in place, every one of those negotiations has been affected across that period of time in a way that is acceptable to the landlord and also the tenant. We have a vacancy rate stability sitting on our portfolio of around about 4%, which is a very acceptable level. What we are seeing there's not as many new tenancies that are occurring in the Northern Territory or across our portfolio, but there's also not as many vacates for obvious reasons. Borders are closed, people can't really go anywhere in or out. One of the interesting things is that population stats that were just recently released, since the start of the COVID-19 border closures, we've actually had an increase of 1,000 persons to the Darwin population. Now, I did release an article recently that was about people looking to come to the Northern Territory because of the safety aspect of things in COVID-19, and that has been obviously taken up in some cases. A lot of the people that we'd spoken to were part of the elderly population, those that are at risk that were looking to come up here and escape the potential of exposure in the southern states. Now, you know, our Chief Minister has certainly been pushing the bandwagon that we're the safest place in Australia. We have had the lowest rate of infection across any of the capital cities per populace, and also we've had no community transfer, whether that be the weather or whether that be the low population and the ability to social distance. Not really sure, but there's obviously a link there somewhere along the line. So, safest place in the NT means that we've had a bit more population. We could do with a hell of a lot more. The arrears in relation to our rental payments is stable. It's sitting at 7%, which is a normal. Tenants are paying their rent normally, obviously, and even those ones that have reduced their rent through hardship are paying. So there's only 7% arrears. In sales, what we experienced a reduction in the number of sales, around about 50% less than what we'd expect at the same time this year if we were not COVID affected. But one of the things that really surprised me is we experienced sales, because I actually thought in the first 2 to 3 months that we would have had real problems in relation to getting a deal on the board. What we've also experienced in relation to sales is we've had no problem with finance fallovers, which I thought could have been a real problem considering all of the employment issues and mortgage issues, surrounding hardship with the bank. But we have had no problems. Delays in settlement we've had, but certainly we haven't had any deals fall over. Touch wood. We've had the reduced numbers. What we have also seen is there has been a marginal reduction in most of the sales that we've had take place from what our expectations would be pre-COVID. Now, we were starting to see a little bit of an increase in the market in some sectors of the marketplace in Darwin. What we have seen since then is we've had a couple of sales where there has been no effect in relation to price, but we have had a couple of sales where there has been effect up to around about 10%. And I think by and large, this is probably because the Darwin market was already at a very low ebb and just starting that recovery back out. It's a basic supply and demand principle. We have, however, had massive inquiry. That inquiry is probably 3 times which we were getting prior to the COVID-19. And that inquiry means that it's been extremely difficult to actually get inspections done upon properties because we've had such high numbers of inquiry, but such difficulty with getting through with home opens, etc. being suspended. They're back on the books now. And what we've got is we've got a lot of people looking at property who have not committed in that time. Speaking to some mortgage brokers previously, and they said their demand in relation to loan applications had gone through the roof as well. Now, the interesting thing about this is I think a lot of people are out there looking and haven't committed. And what that means is that we still have a fair bit of demand in the marketplace at the moment without commitment. What has occurred for us is we've basically had no new stock come to the market, whilst we've sold during this period of time around about 15 properties. Now, we represent probably less than 5% of the Darwin market. If the rest of the agents are experiencing the same thing, what that means is that we've probably had a diminishment in number of properties on the market by about 250, which is significant in Darwin. If this continues over the next couple of months, whilst people are lining up to buy and waiting, this potentially could work in reverse. A lot of the purchasers are thinking that there's going to be a reduction surrounding COVID-19. If we drop off 500 numbers of stock with people that are buying at the moment and we have this increased demand, when we come out the other side, there's going to be a lot of pressure on basic supply and demand for prices to potentially push up. Could work in reverse. Prices are good out there at the moment. If you've got the money in your account, start negotiating in relation to purchasing property. That's an update there for you guys. It's not all as bleak as what it sounds if you're reading the newspapers. And remember, a lot of the stuff that you read in the newspapers is about down south, not about Darwin. Sun's shining up there. They're having a great time. Have a great day. I'll give you an update real soon.